2, 3, funky.
Hey guys, welcome back to another video. If this is your first time tuning in, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button down below and keep watching. Today's topic is going to be very short. We are going to talk about things that we experience in our mid-20s, things we wished we knew when starting off our 20s journey, and things that we'll try to correct as we go along. If you're someone like me that just passed her 25-year mark or mid-20s mark, you're in the what's next phase. Like, you're trying to figure out what's my next plan. I've tried to figure out what my early 20s were, and if that wasn't according to the plan that you set for yourself, this video is very good for you, because it's probably going to highlight the mistakes you made or encountered in your mid-20s or in your early 20s and how you can correct them as you go along. Now, the first thing you need to know is you cannot chase every opportunity that comes your way. I know it sounds absurd, but you're not supposed to be like in a pick-me kind of situation. It could be in your relationship, it could be in your career, it could be in your emotional building. You're not supposed to, grab at every opportunity that presents itself. Let me give an example. Now, when I was in college, I happened to be exposed to the investment banking life. And for me, I felt like this is a career that I felt was going to expose me into the financial sector. I've always grown up in the corporate banking life. My mom was a banker for 20+ years, and I felt like, okay, you know what, I've seen how banking has affected her life, but I want to see how, going into mergers and acquisitions and going deep diving into the financial markets and learning how it works. I happened to jump at every financial opportunity that presented itself. So in my second year, I started by applying to various mentorship programs with investment banks. I applied to one in particular who had an opportunity for undergrads in the university that were trying to figure out if investment banking was for them, and I jumped into it. They had a competition or so for people to apply, and all you had to do was send in your resume. I sent in mine, and out of like 1,000 people, they only picked 50, and I was part of the 50. So that only made me want to, gave me the eagerness to want to go into the investment sector. Like, okay, I actually scaled this. I just tried my luck, and it seems like it's working, so let me just go into it. When I finished school, I started to apply aggressively to some of these companies. I applied to Bain & Company, I applied to McKinsey, I applied to Boston Consulting Group, I applied to Standard Chartered, I applied to a ton. I got to the final stage on one of these opportunities, and I wasn't selected. For me, that should only motivate me to want to work harder and everything, but I figured out that I really wasn't interested in the investment markets. From all this going back and forth with the investment life and everything, I wasted a couple of years trying to figure out if investment really was for me, and truly I felt like it really wasn't. The summary of this is that if I hadn't just popped into the opportunity of saying, oh, you want to enter the investment markets or the investment life because everybody else is doing it, I feel like I would have found the right calling for me to figure out what it is I want to do. Now that I'm above 25, I figured out that, look, I like to impact people's life. I like to talk. I like to educate people. If I had figured this out in my early 20s, I promise you, I probably wouldn't have spent that much time trying to figure out what was my 20s about. Don't jump into every opportunity that presents itself. Take your time to figure out what it is that you are actually passionate about. If I had figured out from my early 20s that I like talking, I'm a talkative, I probably would have started this YouTube channel a long time ago, or I probably would have started a mentorship program trying to educate people in their lower levels and trying to find ways for them to improve their skills. The second thing I wish I learned was to care about my health. Now, let me give this example because we're in Nigeria. Our healthcare system isn't that great. So from the early onset, I've been on the HMO of my mom while she was in banking. And when I was in school, I had healthcare. So when I got out of school, I didn't prioritize my health in the sense that I wasn't always going for dental checkups. I wasn't going for, body work. I only went to the hospital when I was desperately sick that I needed an IV bag or something. So I never took my health serious. I mean, thank God I haven't had like a scare. I haven't had a health scare that has, cautioned me to want to check on myself. But you need to make sure that you make your health a priority. Had I known this, I probably would have signed up with an HMO as soon as I got out of college. Luckily for me, the companies I worked for, they put me on HMOs, but putting me on HMO doesn't actually take me to the hospital. You actually have to check on yourself like every 3 or 6 months or 1 year. Check on your vitals, make sure everything is okay. Like right now, I'm married. I'm trying to get, blood pressure machine for me and my husband. I'm trying to make sure that we are always checking ourselves. Now that we're married, we're gonna sign up in a family HMO to make sure we go for our checkups. Things that I know that I took for granted when I was younger, I cannot do that anymore. Especially with the fact that some things change when we get to a certain stage. Like for me, when I turned 25, I started to have heartburn and acid reflux, and I've never had those before. And as soon as I turned 25, I noticed that the late nights I couldn't eat anymore. I started to gain intense weight when I eat late in the night. I know it's a bad thing, but I used to do that and it wouldn't have an effect on my body. But once I got to a certain stage, I knew that, you can't keep doing this bad habit that you're doing. So you need to learn how to care for yourself when you are in your 20s. Make sure that everything is okay so you don't have to go to the hospital last minute and be like, had I known. The third thing I wish I knew was, in terms of business, no one can tell you how to run your business except for you. Put it this way, you're starting a company. Don't let your people influence you. People, I mean, like family, friends, don't let them influence you. If you're passionate about something, listen to yourself. What I always do is I pray on an idea. I run it across my husband. Decide it within yourself and say, is this what I'm passionate about? Is what I want to do. If you really want to do this, then you might as well just jump into it. I mean, unless it's like capital intensive, I don't advise you to just sit back and, not do it. Like for the people that know me personally, do you know how many businesses I've run since the age of 18? Like I keep trying and trying and trying. I mean, you can never have enough businesses. Just keep trying till you get something right. And then you start to see profits. That's how I see things. So don't let people influence you in your decision making when it comes to business. If you have an idea and you think you're gonna make a lot of money, go for it. Don't let anybody influence you and tell you, you're too young to do it, you're too young to do that, or you don't have the right facilities or instrument or skills. Start it. You learn as you go. The whole point of entrepreneurship is to learn as you go. With all the people that give the advice on entrepreneurship, nobody has the right manual to actually know how to run a business. So do it your way, figure out what works for you and what doesn't work, and keep pushing. If I had listened to everyone that told me not to start my businesses, I wouldn't have started my catering company. I wouldn't have started my hair company. Don't let anyone discourage you. I closed my eyes and I'm like, you know what? If you don't learn now, when will you learn? And I went for those businesses and I was successful. So yeah, don't let anybody tell you how to run your own business. Listen to what you want and go for it. Now, the fourth thing I wish I knew was being more organized and being more time conscious. I wish I spent as much time as I am doing right now, organizing my life, trying to plan my day, trying to figure out what's the next step. I wish I spent this amount of time doing that in my 20s. I played so much. I was like, you know what? Your girl just got out of college. She's trying to figure out the world. I was everywhere trying to figure out what worked for me. I wasn't time conscious. I wasn't planning out my day. I wish I did that sooner. I probably would be more organized or more, disciplined in terms of how I spend my time. But I've learned from my mistakes and I'm now trying to apply that in my everyday life as I go on. So one thing I should advise you is please, please, please be time conscious. If you're in your mid-20s or you're in your early 20s, time consciousness and being organized is so important. Don't waste your time doing all those things unless it's bringing you money. Please don't waste your time doing all those. Oh, I want to party with this. I mean, you should live your life, no doubt. Live your life, but plan your life. Plan it in a way that you're being productive at the end of the day. You spend time with family. Allocate time to spend with family. Don't just spend the whole day faffing and not doing anything, or don't spend the whole month or holiday faffing and not doing anything. Be more time conscious. The one thing I I did do during my early 20s and late teens was I made sure that every single holiday when I wasn't in school, once it was summer break, I was looking for internships to work for. It gives you that extra edge over everyone else when you're time conscious, when you want to spend your time doing something very productive rather than just faffing. Now, the last point I wish I knew when I turned 25 was to never give up on your goals and to keep going. Never give up on your goals. Your goals are what makes you unique. Your goals are what differentiates you from everyone else. You're trying to figure out the world. You're trying to figure out what it is my plans are. Like I said, if I had started my YouTube channel when I was in my early 20s, I would have had a goal saying, oh, before the year end, I want to make sure I've gotten 1,000 subscribers or 2,000 subscribers or 3,000 subscribers. I would have a goal. Now, in my early 20s, my goal was to simply become a very successful investment banker. Make sure I'm dominating in my area or in the industry where I'm working in, and to make sure that I'm making a decent amount. I mean, for me, I feel like I crushed some of those goals. I was working in a decent company. I had bought my first car at 22. For those of you that live in Nigeria, you know, buying your own first car, like this one is not buying my first car by my parents. No, my parents had no idea I was trying to get a car. I brought a car home and said, I have bought my first car. So everyone has their goals, and my goals in my 20s was to graduate, finish with a good degree, finish my NYSC orientation thing properly, get a good job, buy my first car. I mean, by 25, I assumed I wanted to be a millionaire, and I was working towards that goal. Crushing your goals in your 20s is ideal. Like I said, I had my own goals, which were I needed to be a millionaire by 25. I know it sounds unrealistic, but I was really trying to get there. I mean, I was like, I should have moved out of my father's house by, 24 and be living on my own by 25. I should be my own woman. But they say you plan and God laughs. So looking back at those goals, I'm like, I mean, it was a fair attempt. I tried, but time hasn't gone. I can still improve on that and try to reach more realistic goals and keep pushing from there. Now that you figured out that maybe you weren't as goal oriented as you should have been, this is a time for you to sit back, look and reflect on what goals you achieved or try to achieve in the years before, and how you can improve on that and reach better and realistic goals. So yes, guys, these are the 5 things I wish I knew at 25. It's a crazy, crazy, crazy journey. We still have a couple of more years to go by God's grace. As you get older, your goals and your ideals on life tend to change. My ideals right now are to build a healthy family, to make sure that my kids do not lack anything. Like, I don't want them to lack anything. And just to make sure that I build a comfortable life for myself and my loved ones. And that's it. Let me know what your goals are, or what things you wish you knew at 25 and how you're trying to correct that in the comment section. Until then, please don't forget to subscribe and keep watching. Bye, guys.